Today at Let's Talk Marketplace, we talked about
how our marketplace universe is growing into the home for all European B2C marketplace people, and how we connect you with insights, news, events, and jobs.
We also take a look at the recent third quarter figures from Amazon, eBay, Etsy, and Zalando, and we try to find out if times for the e-commerce industry are really getting better again.
Have fun listening.
Let's Talk Marketplace,
the Marketplace podcast with Ingrid Lommer and Valerie Dichtel.
Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk Marketplace. We're back in English today. Originally, our plan was to talk in German about financing for marketplace sellers, but unfortunately, one of our guests had to cancel, which is why we will talk about financing another time. But we use this opportunity to have a Just Valerie and Just Ingrid episode today because we haven't had one of those for quite a while.
Yeah, hello and welcome from my side too. Definitely, it's this time again that we are doing this again, like just the two of us, like we started. And it really has been a long time since we started our podcast. We began just like the two of us, and then we invited guests sometimes. And what we have a new thing as well today for our podcast. We have a new podcast cover and picture. Yay!
Yeah, it's quite cool, actually. I love it. Give you a little background on this. Some weeks ago, Valerie convinced me to go to an official photo shooting together. Well, I say convinced. You could also say forced, I guess, because it's something I'm not generally very keen on. But I have to admit the results turned out really nice. It's cool.
Yeah. And you have to choose the best photographer, obviously. Yes. And Flo did really a good job.
Yeah.
The results are amazing. So we're just using this photo for the podcast, but also we have done obviously some other pictures because the other ones, like the old ones were almost 2.5 years old. And
and we shot them before we found it together, so...
Yeah. And then we said like, okay, now we're founding together and like, it's time to do a good photo shoot together. And yeah, now we have like got lots of great pictures for our website and speaker presentations and LinkedIn and for the podcast too. Yeah. And speaking about new things, what are we talking about today, Ingrid?
Well, I thought as it's the season for quarterly company updates, so we could have a closer look at how marketplaces are doing. There's quarters figures pouring in from Amazon and eBay, Zalando, some others. So we could have a look if several market researchers that I have read are right, because some of them are tentatively announcing that e-commerce economy is slowly on the rise again. And if that's the case, we should see this trend played out in the marketplace figures, I guess.
So we might have some good news to talk about today.
Yes.
Sounds like fun.
Possibly. Hopefully.
Yeah, let's do this in our topic of the week selection later. And let's talk today in the first one a bit more about us and the marketplace universe. What do you say?
Yeah, we haven't spoken much about what we were working on in the past weeks or months. So, yeah, people are still asking us, what is the marketplace universe actually doing? And how do you earn your money? And why are you independent? And stuff like that. We don't have a big company or a corporation in our back, no agency, no marketplace or something. We're bootstrapped. So startups, actually, yeah. Which means we're putting our own money in the business and we grow organically.
Yeah,
right?
Because I when I started as a self-employed, then there were like all the startups and they said like, oh, we are bootstrapped. And I was like, what the hell is this? And they were
just
like,
means you pay your own bills.
Yes, with your own money.
Yes.
Without an investor. Okay, good. Then I'm bootstrapped.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
So yeah, we are really into organically growing. And yeah, people are asking like, how do we earn our money? And actually you could call us like B2B influencer in the niche of the marketplace industry in Europe. Right now, the B2C marketplace industry. I know some of you getting back as like, do you do B2B marketplaces as well? And we were like, we would love to, but we need to focus.
Different kind of worms, actually. Yeah.
So what do we do? How do we earn our money? Is like we offer our reach, visibility, and products to create more brand awareness for mainly marketplaces and marketplace service partners. Always with no bullshit. And what's important to us as well that we choose our clients very well and we don't do a sales show. Yeah. So how do we do this, for example, with our partner Kaufland? just as an example, Ingrid?
Yeah, just an example. We create together LinkedIn articles about their expansion. For example, they have news to talk about this year, so we help them talk about it. But we will write about them on our blog. We create webinars together with them at events where all of you can take part, of course, and we always try to connect you and give you the opportunity to ask our customers all the questions that you want to ask. So, and this is what we are, how we're earning our money. But we always we always keep our independence clean, and we always ask all the questions that are necessary, even if it's a customer.
Yeah, and we very important for us is that we have like a good balance between paid content and unpaid content. As Ingrid is the journalist in our team, she's like always super aware of that. And so we have clients like we told you, like Kaufland or eBay. We also had Allegro already, but we also have like a lot of like logistics partners, Best Solutions. Middleware partners, or Bird is coming in, middleware partners, like many of them, like Plenty, Base, Channel Engine, TradeByte. So, and then you think like, oh, well, like so many different ones. Like, yeah, but we are pretty aware that we don't put you in one bag and everything is the same. It's really important for us to make some like differences and to say like, hey, this one is good for this category, this country, this case. And the other one is good for this country in this case or whatever. So to split them time-wise, but also in the topic we talk about with them.
Yeah, and to give our audience insights on them that they might not get for themselves so easily. Because this is what we always get played back from our audience is, okay, can you tell me more about this middleware, that malware? Can you tell me more about this marketplace or that marketplace? How do we work with them? What have you heard about them? And so I think it's very beneficial for our audience as well to just look a bit deeper into these companies that make up the marketplace universe.
Yeah, and this is what we do is like we connect, we educate, we communicate in marketplace topics to be the home for all marketplace people. This is really our mission to bring you all together. So no one has like to work on his own and do your own like fails and errors, like to share them to share them with others so that no one else has to do the same mistakes again. And what else is belonging to a house is that people are having jobs, for example. And,
for example.
Yeah. And this is a next part we are adding. We already added, let's keep it like that. We added our marketplace job matching because people were coming like, hey, Valerie, I'm looking for a new job. Do you know something? And then 2 minutes later, there's a company coming up. Hey, Valerie, we're searching for a marketplace manager. And I was like, wait a minute.
We can do something about this, possibly.
Yeah. But as you know, we are bootstrapped, so we made a business case out of that. We collect we collect all the talents in our talent pool. So every one of you who was searching for a new job opportunity can get in our talent pool, put your profile there, and if it's a match, we will contact you with the companies who are looking for new people in their team. All about the marketplace business. And if you are a company looking for new team members, you can also use our job ads on our website and in our newsletter to promote your open job. And if you want to know more about this, then you can go on our website, marketplace-universe.com/jobs. And we also put you the link in the show notes. And there you can read everything about how you do this, how you can get in contact with us. Is this everything?
Lots of great people in that talent pool already.
Yeah, and lots of internationals. That's also quite interesting. So, get in contact with us.
Yep.
Is this everything, or do we have another topic?
I think at the moment it's everything we're doing because there's so many things we're working on like simultaneously. But I think these are the main things that we want to talk about today, because I have not discovered how to clone each other yet. which
that's
would
a
be
big
quite helpful,
topic.
actually. Yeah, we're working on that. We'll let you know when you find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess that's the main thing. So, right, shall we talk a bit about what happened last week?
Yes. After our newsflash, I would say, and after a quick advertising break about service level agreements, we talk about our topic of the week.
I feel I should have played something more ominous here, because after all, we're going to talk about service level agreements, and it's only a week after Halloween. And I think SLAs can be quite spooky. At least we learned about that in our podcast number 84 with our partner Best Solutions, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely right. Take Zalando's marketplace partner program, for example. Their service level agreement is a 36 pages document, which includes rules like 95% of orders to Germany and the Netherlands must be delivered within 4 working days, Saturday included. More than 95% must be processed of the orders within 8 working days for Germany and Netherlands as well. And you have like a huge table for every country. Then more than 98% of delivery and returns must be tracked with a return label in every shipment. And there's so much more, like reimbursement times, etc. And this is just for Zalando. So, and every marketplace has their own book of service level agreements, customer experience rights, so on. It's really a nightmare sometimes.
Definitely, yeah. This is where partnering with an expert logistics provider like Best Solutions can help, because they have a good overview about what marketplaces want from you and what they want from your logistics. So B2C marketplace logistics partner can handle your own online shop logistics and even your B2B logistics if needed. And Best Solutions in this case specializes on fashion logistics, which is why we're talking about Zalando here. They also can do handling of hanging goods, and they are well versed in the requirements of all the marketplaces there, like Zalando, About You, and Amazon.
So, if you're interested in exploring how Best Solutions can support you in your brand's logistics, Ute Weikel-Udo is your contact person. We will link her in the show notes.
Okay, that's that. And then I guess we can have a look at what happened last week, apart from the quarter figures, which we will talk about later. Newsflash. Right. I think the most breaking news last week was that the EU has finally launched formal proceedings against Temu. This has been coming for a while. The EU Commission has already voiced concerns about Temu failing to efficiently prevent the sale of illegal and counterfeit products on its platform, because suspended products have been reappearing on Temu normally within days of their removal, and Temu has failed to do anything about this. So, and just 2 weeks ago, I think the EU Commission had a deadline for Temu to provide them with information how they will fix this problem. Obviously, the answer was not satisfying enough, and so now official formal proceedings are open, which, as we all know from similar proceedings that have happened against Amazon and Google, can result in quite hefty penalty fees for Temu, up to 10% of their GMV in the EU countries. So this is not just a very blunt bureaucratic sword. This is the best that the EU Commission can do at the moment. Good news?
I would say a good first step to prevent also European citizens and sellers from Temu products, because I mean, to have like illegal products or counterfeit products or products with not enough product safety, like we are, like it's necessary in Europe, I think that's a big topic. And we had the Temu also on the Marketplace Convention, right?
Yes, yeah. They had actually agreed to do a stage interview because they wanted to be on stage. They came like 3 days before the convention was starting. I'm the organizer, or I was the program director of Marketplace Convention this year. So they contacted me 3 days before the convention and said, "Can we be on stage?" And I was like, "Okay, yes, maybe, if you agree to a stage interview," because I didn't want to put them on stage just to pull out their sales pitch, I said, okay, you can do your sales pitch for 15 minutes and then I'll come up on stage and we have an open discussion. And at first they agreed to do this, and then 2 days later they declined. And they said, we can't do the interview on stage, but we will answer all your questions in our presentation. I was like, no, not happening. So I pushed them from stage. I said, okay, no interview, no stage. But we gave them aside a breakout room and said, okay, you don't do a presentation here, but if sellers want to talk to you and want to get more information about what you're doing in the EU, people can ask you there. Lots of people took this opportunity. And one of them was actually one of our podcast guests from 3 weeks ago, David Sikanek, a Czech e-commerce expert. And he visited the session and wrote down everything that Timo said there, which was, some was quite interesting, some was, they answered a few questions, but mostly they dodged a lot of them as well. I'll link you his summary, which he wrote on LinkedIn.
I was actually there too.
You were there too, of course. Yeah. So what was your feeling?
I would say more at the end, because you also said go ask them like this and this and this.
Yes.
But actually the people who were taking part, they already asked them, and it was quite interesting because on the one hand side, there was one lady, she really wanted to say and to speak openly, but you said there was always a weighing around. So some of them was pretty clear. For example, they said with counterfeit products, they are really aware. And then if they detect someone, they completely stop their account. But and then they also were and we match the VAT ID and see if they are they are blocked in the future to do another account. But I think there are still so many loopholes, right? Where you can try to get in again through, I don't know, different countries or whatever. So, it was okay, but who detects them, right? So who is claiming, and it was someone else is claiming, la, la, la. It's So whose job is it, right?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, some 10, 15 years ago, the same claims were brought to Amazon, because the same idea was you have lots of counterfeits on on your platform. What are you doing about it? Why aren't you doing anything proactive against it? And it took years and years and years for Amazon to come up with something like Amazon Transparency, for example. So to be fair, in this account, it is a platform that is not that old, but at the moment it's not working the way it should. Especially considering illegal and counterfeit products.
So let's see how we are talking about Temu in the next weeks, months, years. I mean, when I worked at Amazon 10 years ago, oh my God, this is so long ago. As a vendor manager, and I wanted to bring fashion brands to Amazon, usual brands. They were please go off our booth on the trade fair. And now it's a complete different picture years later. So let's see how it evolves. They have a lot of money and they are willing to invest. So they have also time.
Yeah. They also have manpower. A big manpower, and they have big plans, and they have quite a huge self-confidence, because they are. That's what I realized when talking to the Temu ladies. They are really. They just come here with this sort of cowboy attitude and say, we're here to stay. We're taking over this market, and there's not much you can do about this. So you better work with us. That was what I got from them. Anyway, we'll see. Yeah.
How is it with the other Chinese marketplace, Ingrid? Shein, you also have news with them.
Not that much actually, but they have, that Shein is also having a second-hand platform, C2C second-hand platform, Shein Exchange. I have no idea how the products from Shein will survive more than 2 owners, but
2 weeks.
Well, they have one. And obviously it's working out quite well, because I think 2 years ago it started in the US, and then this year it came to France and the UK, and now it started in Germany as well. And during opening it in Germany, they said the platform already sports over 4 million users in the US. Yeah, well.
What do German newspapers tell?
Greenwashing.
Yeah. Guess what?
Guess what? Yeah, well, we'll see.
Let's see.
But in the end,
but
the users will decide.
Is it more like a vintage, right? Is this more like every Shein client, like end consumer, can sell their own products?
That's how I understand it, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Their own products and mostly their own Shein products. So, well, okay, again, to be fair,
Shein also has like now brands on it. We also wrote about that in the past. And if you want to sell your... I don't call a name now, but if you want to sell your fashion brand item there, that might be a option. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and there is lots of fast fashion on platforms like Vinted as well, for example, and fast and high fashion just next to each other. So for customers, this might work out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's it actually for the Chinese news for my bit. Just one small piece that I read last week, which I found funny in a way, because there seems to be a new and quite brash method of fraud becoming popular amongst some marketplace users. As you know, a lot of products that you can buy on Amazon are also available on Temu, but normally for a much lower price and normally with much longer delivery rates.
Oh, I can think about what's coming now.
So it seems that some shoppers have ordered the same product on both platforms, Amazon and Temu, happily received their Amazon order the next day and used it and were happy about it. And then when the order of Temu was delivered 3 weeks later or something, they canceled the order on Amazon and sent back the product they had just received from Temu to the Amazon logistics center. Bam, instant refund. And thus you have combined the Amazon logistic gold standard with the Temu pricing.
Okay, that's next level.
Wow. It's quite next level.
Yeah,
and actually, I have no idea what Amazon will do about it.
You cannot do anything about it, I guess.
Not really. At least not if you're not, I don't know, tracking if you have a kind of tracking ID on each parcel or something.
This is like, you do this for example, a TV, right? They have like a special number on it. But for example, I have a lunchbox ordered. So you need just to have the right EIN code maybe on the package from Amazon and put it on the Temu thing, and that's it. Yeah. We don't do fraud here, just to play. Just don't. No. It was just like, how can marketplace sellers print themselves? I have no idea if it's really the same product.
Yeah, if any one of you has an idea what to do against this, I think it's not going to be that big of a problem, because normally the stuff you buy on Amazon or Temu, you hardly need them the next day, I guess. But if you do,
and to be very honest, it's also time you need to research to really find the exact same product.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's, just,
Yeah.
Anyway, those were my news for this week. Maybe let's dive into more of the harder news here with the quarterly company reports on the biggest marketplaces next. But first, another quick ad break. We would like to quickly introduce you to our sponsor partner, Plenty One. Plenty One is a German e-commerce service provider which offers an all-in-one solution for your omnichannel business, and they have a very, very strong focus on marketplaces.
Plenty One supports retailers, manufacturers, and brands of all sizes worldwide, providing a powerful platform that covers and manages the entire sales process across more than 150 sales channels. With over 330 employees, Plenty One works remotely to stay competitive. In 2023, more than 160 million orders with a GMV of 9.8 billion euros were processed via the platform. The company's headquarters are in Kassel, and Plenty One has had an additional location in Timisoara, Romania since 2017.
One focus for Plenty One in the coming month is the expansion of their innovative channel layer technology, which ensures more efficient, standardized marketplace connections and release brands and retailers of complex system processes. So this channel layer offers a growing portfolio of marketplace integrations and significantly reduces maintenance offered to support companies in their multi-channel strategy.
We will tell you more about this technology in the coming month. And if you're interested to find out more about what Plenty One is doing, we will link their homepage in our show notes.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about figures.
Topic of the week.
So, as I said before, figures for the third quarter have started to pour in. I've put together everything that came in last week. That was Amazon and eBay and Etsy, and I think some 2 weeks ago it was Zalando as well. So let's just go over all these figures for a quick bit and see, where are we heading? How was that third quarter for marketplaces? Well, let's start with Amazon, because that's the best news there. For Amazon, the third quarter was pretty good. They increased their turnover by 11% year over year, even better on the international business. It grew by 12% year over year. And they showed some impressive cost discipline and increased their income to 17.4 billion, 17.4 billion, sorry, which is an impressive increase of over 50% year over year. So yes, profitability going strong here. And also, of course, retail media is still one of the most strongly growing parts of the Amazon business, growth of 19%. What's interesting is that the main growth is not coming from the retail area. No. This is not new. This is something that has been going on over the last 5 or 6 quarters, I guess. The retail part has been growing by 8%. It doesn't really sound like this peak Amazon theory that has been going around the industry, that Amazon is peaking and is not growing anymore. They're still growing, but not that fast. And the marketplace is still growing faster than their own retail business.
Yeah, but what we also have to say is this huge achievement of this growth overall is the AWS, right? So the cash cow from Amazon, the cloud services,
still
they are growing massively, and also the EBIT comes from there mainly, to be very honest. So,
but still, even that growth rate is slower than in the years before. I think they are still growing by some nearly 20%, which is great, but not.
But it's highly profitable. That's the thing.
That's the thing, yeah.
So this profit increase is insane. 50%. Wow. Operating income increased by $74 billion US dollars.
Yeah, so lots of money to play.
I was happy with my shares.
Yeah, I guess so. So, Amazon back on track, it seems. And...
yeah, they also did this clearance of the vendors. Also, we talked about this a few months ago. So they also did the clearance. They have a great cost discipline. Frugality was always a topic at Amazon. So there's nothing with no one at Amazon has a company car, for example. It's not existing. So some things like that. So fly in, fly out. So it's if you were working there, it's frugality is the thing. And I think they really increased this as well again. And retail part is growing, luckily. Do we also have numbers about marketplace share versus retail?
That is still growing. I haven't looked that deeply into it because you have to dig really deep into the figures to find that out. And normally you only find them in the yearly figures. I'll look into that a bit deeper and we do an update next week. Yeah. But it is the only thing that I got from looking at it at the first glance was that the marketplace fees are still growing faster than the retail part. So, but that has been true for the last quarters as well. Yeah. So yeah, marketplace is growing. I mean, there's still this debate going on if you can see in these numbers that Amazon is affected by Temu and Shein and stuff. I have trouble seeing it actually because the slower retail growth is something that we have witnessed over the last 2 years. Amazon is still growing very heavily in the AWS and in retail media. This has been true for over 2 years or 3 years even. And so I don't see it yet.
The thing is, like, in those numbers, you also can see in which part or like sales prices they are increasing or decreasing. So it could be that this 8% growth in retail is coming from more expensive products compared to what Temu offers, for example, so that they are losing the ground in the price entry level. That could be the case. I mean, Amazon is not open about that and sharing their numbers and say like, oh yeah, let's see, let's have a look in our problems topics.
Of course not.
They're pretty closed on that, but you can see in what, like, how they are reacting and what they are offering for lower price points, that they are working quite heavily on this topic.
Yes, they definitely have it on their agenda, which you can see in this low-cost Amazon store that is now opening in the US and stuff. So they are definitely working on that. It's just, the question is, have they started working on it because they see a problem here for the future, or is the problem already existing and they're just reacting to it? I'm leaning towards the first option here. But
I'm leaning to a mixture because they are always pretty fast. They have like such great teams. Like, they are not blind or like, that won't be a problem. But they also need their time to implement it. And I think that's a big topic.
Yeah, let's head over to eBay. But they had some figures as well last week. Much less impressive, but we're used to that for the last years. But considering that the last years have been very difficult for eBay, the figures now for the third quarters are actually quite positive because GMV is finally back to growing. Not much, but by 2%, slower than the market, but still good news if you consider how the GMV has been declining over the last years. And even better, the user figures are also on the rise again. Again, not by much, but eBay has been losing users for the last years, and this loss seems to have stopped now for good. They are also very happy about their advertising game. Retail media income went up by 14%. This is always, it's good news for the marketplace. It might not be that good news for the sellers because it just means that selling there costs them more and they have less profit from it. But still, eBay seems to be fine.
Retail media is like always like a so-and-so thing, right? So you have to invest to get your products visible, and you are happy if they offer some opportunities in retail media. And then the other question is like, did they just start it? Is it low cost to do retail media? And is therefore the growth there? Or did they just raise their cost prices or click prices or whatever? And there, from this point comes the increase on the advertising game.
Well, eBay is still increasing their advertising offers. They're still offering new ways to advertise your product. So some of that growth might come from this, just because there's more options.
And this is what we see overall in the market, right? That retail media is growing and that nearly every marketplace is offering more opportunities to retail media, right?
Definitely, Yeah, what else do I have? Well, Etsy released some figures. We talk much too little about Etsy actually on this podcast. We have realized talking about it because they're so big in the US and also in many European countries. They're not so big in Germany, which is where our own German buyers might come in here because we just don't have them on our agenda so much.
On a C2C marketplace, right?
Yeah,
but it's not really.
That's not the case.
It's like more small businesses.
Yeah, small businesses.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Maybe. Anyway, but they had a bad third quarter. Their GMV went down by 6% to still impressive $2.5 billion US. But also they lost quite a lot of shoppers. Their number of regular users shrunk by nearly 5%. Of course, the third quarter is normally a bad quarter for Etsy because they have a strong peak season, and they are hoping for a good peak season. Obviously, if you look at the prognosis they pushed out, but still, it's not a good time for them, obviously. But it goes to show we had difficult times over the last 2 years, at least in the Western economies, and of course, if people are if people have to look after their money, they might not spend that much on the stuff that you can buy on Etsy.
Yeah. And I mean, if there's such a big part in the US, also the elections are could also have been that this has an influence. Might be.
Possibly.
Yeah. So there is like a lot of like internal, external influence always, right? But yeah.
Yeah. Right. And also from a marketplace where I think you're much better to talk about, Zalando. They also pushed out their figures for Q3.
Yeah.
And they're looking good, to me at least. Or is that a wrong impression?
Well, no, that's not a wrong approach. I mean, Zalando did a lot of things in the past to decrease their cost structure, like to have less costs, and also to have more quality sellers and brands with their clearance of the last year. So Q3 gross merchandise volume raises by 7.8% to 3.5 billion euros, and revenue increases 5% to 2.4 billion euros. So adjusted earnings before interest and taxes climbs from 23 million euros to 93 million euros in the quarter, with a margin of 3.9%. So I would say overall, this is a really good result. Zalando changed their kind of reporting, and that makes it a bit more difficult to compare it to the last year, to be very honest.
Yeah, a bit is a bit of an understatement here, I think. I mean, there's lots of stuff in there that I haven't seen before, something like B2B records and stuff. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, so in the past we always like could see, okay, there's a retail bucket which included the Zalando partner program, connected retail, and the wholesale business. And now, it's a bit different. It's they founded like two new buckets. It's B2C and B2B. And B2C is mainly, as far as I understood, still the retail business, but their turnovers with retail media, with logistics, like with their logistics service sales, with other services, this is in the B2B records. And we have a huge difference there. So the B2C sees revenue rising by 4.3% and an adjusted EBIT climbing by 3.5% to 4%. And the B2B has 11.1% revenue growth in Q3 with an EBIT margin of 2.8%. But the B2B is like super small compared to the B2C. So B2B has like 236 million euro in GMV. Let me check again when Ingrid is talking. But B2C is like so much bigger. Like, let me check. B2C is turnover 2.1 billion euros, and B2B turnover is 239 million. So
sounds a bit like number juggling to me here. Like, how can we arrange these numbers so that they look good?
Yeah, and that we
Let's put that
like
here and put this here.
The sales topic new in, and claim it like with 11% growth, like yay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, they all do that kind of thing, but it makes our job so much more difficult. But overall, I mean, there's some numbers about growth rates for order value and stuff. So this is something that you at least can compare.
Yeah, that's what you actually can compare. And what's interesting overall is they increased slightly their active customers. They increased definitely the orders volume and the basket size of to 61 euro compared to 58 euro last year. So I would say this is really there you can really see that this quality focus of Zalando is
it's working out, obviously.
It's working out, yeah.
It seems to find their customers. So this seems to be a strategy that is fulfilling its goals after all.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how this if they keep to this new structure of reporting next year, and then we can say a bit more about what is actually growing and what's not. But yeah. Well, to sum up, we have some great figures from Amazon. We have some mediocre figures from eBay. We have bad figures from Etsy and some number juggling from Zalando. so was this a good quarter overall? Even also, if you take into consideration what you heard from brands and retailers you've been talking to on the several events in fall, do you think it's a good quarter? Is e-commerce picking up again?
I mean, I would say for a Q3, it was a really good quarter. And I would say we can slowly getting our hope back. And we all did our homework. I think that's also quite important.
Yeah.
Because in the past, it was like, oh, it's growing, no matter what you did and blah, blah, blah. But now there's really time to get your shit done in your numbers and your profitability, to really dive deep and to work on that. And I think that really came to the brands, but also on different maturity levels compared to the categories. So what I still see is, we are, Ingrid and me, we are more and more connected in the DIY industry and getting insights from there. And then we have my background from fashion and sports. And if we put like these categories together in the marketplace business, then we're like, okay, fashion is so much more mature. You don't need to tell them why to do marketplace business anymore. But if you talk to DIY, home improvement categories companies, then you still have then I still realize I have talks with them about like vendor versus seller, competing teams inside the company, the C-level which doesn't want to do a focus on marketplace business or doesn't understand it correctly. This is still talks they have in the home improvement industry. So we have like a huge variety of maturity, of professionality, or of like education as well in the marketplace business and in the people who are working in there. So I would say that's what I realized in the past month.
But what I get from, because I look at a lot of market researches, reports and stuff, and I get a very varied picture. It sort of reminds me of meteorologists trying to predict the weather at the moment, and just realizing that their old formulas are not working in climate change times. And that's a bit the same for those market researchers, because some of them are going, yeah, it's picking up again, and we're going to have a great season 4. And then I read other reports by, for example, companies that are predicting the package volumes for the fourth quarter. And they say, no, we're going to have a stagnated business compared to last year. So it's still, no one is really knowing, actually. But lots of people, but no one is saying that they don't know. So that's what always pisses me off. Yes, just say it clear and loud if you don't know. So I think at the moment, it's really hard. I do get the feeling of things picking up a bit
Yeah. And what I also have to say is like, if we are talking about the Q3 right now, and Q3 is usually not the one where you say like, oh, we've made such a great growth and so on. It's more often the Q4. And I would say if the Q3 is already that good, I mean, slightly growing up, good.
Yeah, looking positive, at least. More positive than last year.
Yeah. Then that's a good sign for the Q4. Mm-hmm. Hopefully.
Shall we close on this slightly positive note?
Yeah. I'm happy that we can
it again.
I'm really glad that we are back on good news.
Yeah, hopefully.
We're not so like dark numbers and declining and stopping.
Yeah, it's not fun. We don't like it either. So yeah, as I say, we're going to close it here before ruining it again. Right. Next week. Next week.
Next year, we are talking about the Q4 numbers. That's true.
That's true. And next week, we are
talking about Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. We have
your annual review meetings.
Yes, we have Martin Heubel again here with us, a vendor expert who will tell us more about how to lead your Amazon
annual review negotiations.
Annual review negotiations. That's what they call it. Yeah, and he's got some good insights there. I think that is going to be very educational.
Oh yeah. I feel like back in my vendor manager times when I had to negotiate this as well, and. Martin is really good. So if you need to get prepared for your annual review meetings and want to know more about COGS and how you get prepared the best to get the best out of it, then join our next episode.
Tune in next time. Right. And for today, thanks for listening. And you know the deal. Just follow us. Click like and comment on LinkedIn, whatever.
Give us a great rating and hear you next time.
Yes. Bye-bye.
You listen to Let's Talk Marketplace.
The Marketplace podcast with Ingrid Lommer and Valerie Dichtel.